Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So I want to talk about this whole Curtis and Portia scene. No, Curtis and Stella scene because so Curtis and Portia are talking for a little bit. Stella comes in there because Portia leaves to go, spend time with Trina. So Stella comes in there and Curtis tells her that Marshall's gone, and the reason that Marshall's gone is because he investigated into his background and found some stuff about him and explains what it is. And at first, Stella was like, "Yo, how did you find that information?" You know what? Never mind. I don't even want to know. And this is about the whole, Marshall, was in a mental facility, or because he got arrested for a protest that went, sideways or whatever. And Curtis was like, I noticed when I was sent to saying that you didn't look like you were surprised. I feel like if this is the secret, this is the reason why Marshall left his two children and wife was because he got arrested for a protest and he sent them to a mental hospital, and he faked his death because he got arrested and went to a mental house. Are you? That is probably among the stupidest things I think I've ever heard. Among the stupidest things I've ever heard in a show in my entire life. Now, I say that because if that's the case, that's really bad. Can you imagine Curtis' dad comes back and we're sitting there thinking, okay, maybe he's in the FBI, maybe he's in the WSB, maybe he was working for the mob, maybe he's an informant, something that's really crazy. It's going to be like, whoa, I'm totally invested into it. And then we come to find out that all of those really interesting storylines, interesting things we could sit there and be all talking about. Yeah, no, that's none of that. All that stuff that was fun that I just said. No, it was none of that. Turns out, uh, turns out that the real reason why Marshall was gone was because he got arrested for a protest and went, a little sideways, and he got arrested for it, and they didn't really give him jail time, but they sent him to a mental house. So that's why he left his family for years. That's why he left his two children and his wife for years. How disappointed would that be if that was the actual? I am holding out because I can't believe that the writers could be this lazy, this stupid, or the fact that the network decided to hire the cheapest help that they can find when it came towards the writing board, because that's what that also spells. It spells cheapness. Um, but I'm gonna hold out hope. Now, Curtis is upset with the fact that, well, the fact that Stella knew since he was a child the real reason why he left, the fact that he wasn't dead. So that took a while to wrap his head around. And then to find out that his mother knew. He got all that in one day. Okay, that's a lot. But of course, seeing Stella cry, he was like, I can't even be upset with you. You're crying. I just can't do it. So he forgave her. forgave her, and he was like, you know what? I got to sit there and find Marshall now. So now we got to sit there and bring him back. And I guess we're going to sit there and do some sort of somewhat apology. Hey, I didn't want you to sit there and leave. I just thought it was a lot more dangerous. If you come back and stay, please, pretty, please, 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 with sugar on top, to sit there and have this man stay. Which in reality, we should all be sitting there telling him to kick rocks, because that is a whole lot of things. And on top of that, insulting. That is insulting. And Stella was like, I wish I can go back and told you for so long. I was like, you could have told him he was 21 when you felt like he was old enough to know the truth. Yeah, it would have been hard, but we're past 21 with him. And now we're gonna sit there and try and bring this lying as. You know what? Let's just move on. Let's just move on, because if I think about that too hard, I'm gonna get a nosebleed. So let's just move on. Okay, so I understand that Michael is upset with Sonny because he grew up with him, he loved him, he idolized him, and then he does the things that he wouldn't be. That growing up, Sonny wasn't known for. What Michael. So I get it. I get the anger. I get the frustration. I get the betrayal. I get the protecting his mother. I get all of that. But with that being said, I feel like this is extreme. An extreme level of discontent up into the point of declaring war. Now, not that long ago, Sonny killed AJ. When he swore to Michael that he wouldn't do it, he decided to do it anyway. So Michael went in. Okay? He was ready to go to war and then some. We all understood it. And the majority of us was like, bro, do what you gotta do. Okay? We're all with it. But at some point, he did forgive Sonny. Okay? He did forgive him. So let me get this straight. You're gonna sit there and forgive Sonny for killing your dad when he swore to your face that he wouldn't do it. But because now you feel that he's choosing Nina over your family, you're ready to take everything away from him? After you just forgave him for killing your bio dad. I mean, it's just the level of it's not adding up. It's just not adding up. Um, and I know that I'm not the only person that's just like, bro, really? I mean, Sonny was sitting there talking to Willow, and Willow was thanking him for the flowers. And Sonny was like, listen, anytime you need something, I'm always there for you. And Michael walks up like, yo, she don't need you for a damn thing. You got that, bro? And I was like, uh, my, you wanna just take that down a notch? And Willow was like, yo, I was just thanking him for the flowers. Like, that was it. It wasn't like that big of a deal. And eventually Dante came over and Sam came over and they kind of broke him up a little bit. And Dante was like, listen, you need to make the first move because it seems like it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Sonny was like, nah, bro. Um, he did a backfire on me. Like, he said things that he needs to apologize to me. That's just how this is working. And, the more Dante talks, the more Sonny's like, oh, you give me a heads up? Like, I mean, gotta be watching my back? And Dante was like, well, I mean, I'm not trying to, violate the bro code. I mean, literally, but just keep your head on the swivel. I'll say that much. And he walks away. They start the whole ceremony. Leo is worried that Chase is not going to be there, and I know some people are like, why is Leo so attached to Chase? Like, Why is he so like, oh, he needs to be there? I can't do this whole thing without him. But when you look at it, I try to look at it this way. Leo sees Chase as a big brother. You know, he sees him as somebody he can look up to, somebody that's kind and caring. That's cool. In his eyes, and I like Chase, so whatever. Um, but that's how he sees him. He really looks up to him. So he was really worried that he wouldn't be there, and of course Chase was there, which was nice. Um, and he was just pretty much kind of giving him some advice and everything like that. And when he went up on that stage, he got a little nervous, but then he looked at Chase and he did his poem, and it was a nice moment. It was a nice moment. Brooklyn was, thanking him. They were talking at some point, and somebody were looking at them from the bushes, like they're like a room full of people. Who is sitting there just lurking? You know, like you have a crowd of people, and somebody decides they want to be somewhat of a peeping tom. Be like, I can't see anything. Move over, bro. Like, who's doing that in broad daylight? But whatever. Um, so that happened. Michael and Drew talked business with Ned at some point and was like, "You're gonna be the COO." It's the second time I actually heard that term, and it kind of makes me miss Y&R a little bit. Even though I feel like if I had more time, I'll be able to do all four of them. But at some point, I want to get back to that. Anyway, they offer him the title of COO. COO. I gotta get used to saying that. But Ned's not happy about that. Ned's just like, yeah, that seems like it's doesn't really have a future in it. It seems he's just not happy about it. But they try to convince him, and Ned is like, you know what? It gave me something to think about. Later on, you see Ned talk to Valentine, so we all know where this is going. Ned is not happy. Michael and Drew is like, maybe he'll come around. Once he sees the value and what we're doing, he'll come around. And my whole thing is like, y'all went about this in this very blatant, well, this very disrespectful way. You know, he's been at the CO level. He's been doing ELQ for a hot minute, and now he has Michael and Drew practically deciding his future. And on top of that, and I'm not gonna. I guess there's really no way of getting around this, but I feel like Ned probably has some issues with Michael being CEO. Like working under him for a lot of different reasons. For the way his work style was, to the simple fact that Michael's younger than him, and having somebody younger than him kind of give him orders and things of that nature, it feels on some level kind of degrading. Um, Especially given his skill set, as a leader, and having somebody else younger than him tell him what to do, or just in general having somebody else younger tell him what to do, is just like it feels degrading. And so having both of them do that, it just felt off. But more to the point, them just going behind his back, like it was just not cool. So I understand Ned's frustration. Um, and it just works towards Valentine's advantage. So that's cool. Now Anna and Felicia was there talking about Valentine and what's going on with those two, and the fact that Valentine's kind of ghosted her. Even though Valentine was kind of working on his own little side project, doing the French captain naval guy with the really, really, really bad mustache. They were talking about him, and of course his ears was burning. So Valentine showed up, and he said hello, and Anna took a call, and Felicia was meant to try to set it straight. And I'm gonna be honest, on one hand, I commend Felicia for being, for respecting girl code. I don't know what girl code is, but I'm assuming it's something along those lines. just really having in his back and be like, yo, are you serious about her? Like, you ghosted her? What's going on? So on one hand, I respected her for that. Yeah, and actually, I think that's about it. I respected her for that. Felicia has never really been my favorite character, but I don't really have anything against her either. I have more against Sam than I do against her, except for the fact that when she was talking about, having kids again, that was just like, just please don't bring that up again. Other than that, I respect her. I respect her for looking out for Anna. And then Anna came back, and Anna was meant to talk about the whole WSB thing, wrapping things up with Jennifer Smith being, behind the whole gate, bridge collapse and everything like that. But and it was like I felt like there was something more. If they bring up the French naval captain, and of course we flash back to Valentine wearing a really terrible mustache, and no, I am not letting that go. Um, so she's still gonna be digging, and I don't know. Then they talk some more, and at some point, Valentine wants to sit there and try to get together with Anna, but Anna's like, I'm busy. We'll find a time to make it work. So I guess they're doing this whole back and forth thing. So, you know, that's fun. So glad I wasn't invested in that. I mean, to be fair, I've never really been invested in pretty much any of the couples, but like, this whole back and forth thing just doesn't really work for me. The same thing with Brooklyn and Chase, just like, oh, two are exhausting. Okay, so I have a question. I forgot their names for a minute. Trina and Ava are talking, and Trina is meant to talk about how she might be expelled because of the whole scandal thing with the sex tape. And she basically says that the school is doing their own investigation. And Ava was like, well, what happens if you're found, not guilty? They're going to have to sit there and reverse their decision. And from what I understand, and this makes completely no sense to me, Trina was like, the the court hearings has no bearing on the school's investigation. So basically, it's like Smith is saying that even if Trina is found innocent, they can still expel her. If she's found innocent, the school can possibly still expel her. Now, I like to sit there and think that I know my subscribers. And I know at least two people that work in the law field. That work in the law field. So, and this goes out to anyone else, even if they don't work in the law field. Can somebody please explain to me how it's possible that the school can still expel her, even if she's found innocent? Because I'm going to be honest, that is. I haven't felt this annoyed since they violated HIPAA with Willow and that whole Shiloh trial. So if anyone knows that, and I'm talking about anyone in general, and I'm also talking about the specific people that work in the law field, in the law field. If this is true, please tell me. And if it's not true, please tell me also. But anyway, we're talking about that, and long story short, Ava's like, keep your head up. Now, Spencer is that they're trying his hardest to not have that much time spent with Esme. And Esme is like, you want to go horseback riding, and we could sit there and try to make it seem like it's horseplay. Foreplay. And I'm like, what? How is horse riding has anything to do with foreplay is beyond me. But anyway, she basically seems to talk about how she wants to have sex. And Spencer's like, oh, well, I got to go to work today. And, Esme's like, what are you talking about? It's your day off. Nah, somebody called me. Cam called me, and, somebody called out sick, so he asked me to cover, and I got to cover, so I got to go. And he pretty much just bolts out of there. Now Nicholas sees that whole thing. When Nicholas walks in, Nicholas sees that whole thing, and of course, Esme uses this to her advantage to sit there and try to get closer to Nicholas. She's like, oh, our relationship is sour, and I'm trying everything I can, and this, that, and third, and boo, and you're such a good father. And of course, she's getting all close to him, like, Esme, you can have this conversation without your face being like right here. Okay, it does not need to be that close. But of course, they're talking more, and Esme is laying it on thick. Oh, Ava, I don't understand how Ava can't sit there and see you for who you are, and this, that, and the third. And then she looks like she's about to kiss him. Okay, she looked like she's about to kiss Spencer. Nicholas. Now, when Esme put her hand on Nicholas, Nicholas saw that and was like, I'm sitting there thinking, this next episode is going to go one or two ways. He's either going to shut that down, or he's going to play along, or he's going to give in and kiss her. I see one of those three playing out in maybe the next episode or so. So Spencer leaves and he decides to go to Kelly's and he runs into Portia and he's all like, how is Trina doing? And I'm like, so Portia, let him have it. Okay? Portia, let him have it. It got so, she got so angry that Trina and Ava heard and they walked out there like, yo, what is going on? Ava pretty much like, Spencer, if you don't get your ass in here. And Trina pretty much thanked, Portia for, having her back, which is like, that's your mom. I don't really understand why are you thanking her. I mean, the real question is, why isn't Taggart here? Okay? Why isn't Taggart here? I mean, hell, I would even sit there and take, Walmart's version of Taggart. Here's the thing. I joke about that, but I think, let's put it this way. The real Taggart, or the Taggart everyone knows, I know at some point he was having some health issues. I don't know if they gotten better or how was that whole thing going. So I understood why, they had to sit there and get the replacement or whatever. But even if they have to get, you know, um the other guy to be Taggart, it would still make more sense than just having him just gone during his daughter's whole trial. Anyway, she thanks her, thanks Portia, and Ava's just like, yo, leave her alone. Stop just showing up and being by her every chance that you can get. And of course, Spencer is like, you don't own everywhere. You only own the gallery. So back the hell off. Now I'm gonna be honest. When Portia went off on Spencer, this wasn't even one of those things where it was like, all right, you can kind of chill. This was one of those things like, bro, I can't even. She is right about all that. Even when Spencer was like, well, I spent time in jail too. And she was like, bro, you was in there for 30 days. I don't even sit there and talk about how you were in jail. Called him privileged, just called him out on everything. And this is something that everyone already knows. I mean, hell, even Spencer knows. So why he had that doe-eyed look like, his feelings was getting hurt was like, bro, you know that you're privileged. I mean, hell, you got your uncle to let you out so you can go give flowers to, your mother's grave. You know that you're privileged and that you have connections. And by the way, speaking of privilege, if he's living back um in the house, why is he still working for her? I mean, oh yeah, never mind. Has money. I really don't understand why he actually is still working there. I mean, couldn't his dad give him money or whatever? I just don't understand why he's working at Kelly's for. I don't get that. When they were living on their own, when they were living with Laura, I understood why you kept the job. But you're more or less kind of close with your dad for the most part, or unless I missed something. I feel like that's about it. I really do. I feel like that's about it. And the thing is, I had another separate complaint, and I forgot what it was. I really did, and I think it was something that they brung up. Oh, that's what it was. It was the bridge thing. It was the whole Jennifer Smith thing, and they haven't brung that up in like damn near almost a month and a half. And this is one of those things where it's like, this is what happens when you have so many people, you have so many storylines. It's like the minute they start talking about Jennifer Smith and the whole, Luke's death or whatever, and the whole cable bridge thing, I was like, what story are you talking about? Oh, you mean that story that they were talking about for like 2 months ago, give or take? That? Because, they have so many characters and so many storylines that when they brung that up, I had to sit there and remember the whole I don't remember the whole bad mustache thing, and it was just like. Then I made a whole joke about Victor and Magnum PI and me, and that was about a month ago. So this is exactly what happens when you just start bringing stuff up from like damn near 2 months ago because you just have so many characters. But anyway, I think that's enough of my rant. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. See you in the next video.